How do you connect circular economy and climate change at Volvo Cars?
So the list of actions would take a little longer than we have now, but what we have done is doing a complete mapping of our carbon impact during use phase, during production phase, during our own operations, manufacturing and service. And we've created an internal map where we can see what every step of the detail has impact in terms of the materials we use, the logistics linked to them, where the suppliers are located. And based on carbon impact and financial savings, because in the end, we have to achieve all of this in being carbon neutral, but we also have to be a profitable business. We've identified a number of key areas. So right now, towards 2025, key focus is on recycling and renewable materials. It's about minimizing waste in our own operations, minimizing unnecessary transports, and renewable energy in our own operations.
And one question I have for a big company, of course, but like Volvo Cars, is how do you get the stakeholders that you work with across your value chain to get on board with these solutions and to focus on climate change and circular economy?
I think it's a little of everything here. Of course, we are the final customer in a long supply chain. A general component normally has 4 to 5 levels of suppliers involved. But also a lot of our suppliers are huge companies as well who have the same commitment to creating a more sustainable business. So there is a joint interest here. It's not just that we have to, if I say chase our suppliers, we have a tremendous amount of input of suppliers who are bringing new ideas, new material concepts, new concepts instead of selling parts, and they're looking for partners to help them achieve their own sustainability goals. So we can work a lot with the major suppliers to show that the smaller ones that may not have the same R&D and innovation capability, that this can be done and it can be done in a profitable way. And once that is visual to them, it is a lot easier to get them to follow along.
So in other words, what you're saying is that you have to show both the environmental but also the economic or financial gains of the circular economy.
In essence, yes. It's very, I mean, we are an industry that has a huge amount of capital in it, but if you look at the profitability levels at any part, having 5 to 6% profitability is average. Having 8% profitability is great in our industry. So there isn't really much wiggle room, if I use that. So what we have to show and what we have to use our R&D capabilities and designing and so on is finding the ways to doing this in a profitable way. And I would say that what we've seen so far is that we're well on track with our progress, and we are definitely able to show that we can do this in a very profitable way, and we can have our suppliers coming along on that journey.
Thank you, James. Let's talk about a bit more about what Volvo Cars is already doing in the circular economy. What could you share with us some of the examples of things?
Of course. So, I mean, one thing that many people don't actually know is that the car is the most recycled consumer product as it is already, where we have a recycling rate in Europe of, or a recovery rate, we should use the right term, a recovery rate of 95%. But the issue with the product being very complex is that the quality of the materials coming out of the recycling process is not on the same level that goes into it. So what we're doing now is working a lot with our suppliers, finding out which components are suitable, where can we do recycling on the same level, or could we potentially doing upcycling, or could we be using materials that cannot be recycled to the exact same level but has a minimum environmental impact. So what we have said towards 2025 is that we want to have 25% recycled or bio-based plastics, we want to have 25% recycled steel, and we want to have 40% recycled aluminum. And the reason for the difference between steel and aluminum is more of the aluminum is cast metal, which is easier to do with recycled qualities, whereas steel, which is much more forged and is used more in safety applications, have different properties on it today.
And James, one of the things that we've mentioned is we need to change as well how we use the products and everything around us. So I know that Volvo Cars has a sharing and a subscription based model. Could you tell us a bit more about those?
Yes. So as mentioned in the introduction, I mean, becoming a circular business means that we're looking at a future where we have to differentiate the ownership models of a vehicle. And so we already today have three options essentially to consumers, a little bit depending on where in the world you are, where you can buy the car, you can subscribe to a car like you essentially subscribe to a cell phone. And when you don't want a car, you hand it back and we can take care of it and make it ready for the next customer. And we've also started with having transport as a service, which is a company we call M, which we're rolling out now since about 2 years, where you only pay as you go for the amount of time when you use the car, and otherwise it's just in the app and parked at a close by space where you want it.